Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining Joan and I. My name is Soila. I'm from the divorcemagazine.co.uk. I'm the founder and editor, and I have got loads of videos both on YouTube and on the website www.thedivorcemagazine.co.uk. There's lots of interviews on there all about divorce and coping and dealing with divorce and children and the effects of divorce and so forth. So go and visit and see what you can find on there, anything that you're looking for. You probably will find it there. This morning, well, it is morning. You might be listening in the afternoon, but we have Joan Bishop, and let Joan tell us what it is that she does. Hi, Joan.
Hi Sola, lovely of you to ask me and to be part of your very important
Oh,
project.
you're most welcome. Thank you.
I am a mediator, family mediator, and have been for 15 years. I have mediated over 1,000 cases.
Wow.
And not only do I mediate, I also train mediators, and they may be from a legal background or they may be from other backgrounds. I'm from another background. My background is mainly in business. I had shops. I also have an education background. I have a education qualification following my degree in sociology. I've also worked as a member of a foster panel, helping to choose foster parents.
Fantastic.
They're very involved with families and they're very important to me. I come from a fractured family, extremely fractured family, from a time when divorce was quite rare, over 50 years ago. This has helped me to really focus upon what is important to me and what would have been important to me had it been available to my family. Apart from being qualified as a mediator and able to do legally funded work, I also have a master's degree from the University of London in mediation, and I'm also an NLP practitioner.
Okay.
Okay,
That's
for
brilliant.
me, where I'm coming from is the need to deal with emotions in mediation for families, which
Yes.
I really hoped or wished could have happened to my family, but it didn't.
Yeah, and I have to say, recently, I have met a few adults, children of divorce, and it's amazing that they have the same story to tell in the sense that they still remember their parents' divorces, although it happened a long time ago, and the effects that divorce had on them. And one of the reasons that I set up the divorcemagazine.co.uk was the bottom line for me, coming from a child therapy background, was to make sure the children are all right. Because by arming the parents with good information on the effects of divorce on children, you hope that they will make better choices and more informed decisions about what is going to work for their children and how they can help their children cope with the situation.
Quite right.
Yeah.
I'm qualified to work with children in mediation. I've
The
met over
direct,
children, yes.
yeah.
I've heard amazing stories from them and have really been able to associate with many of the things that they have said.
All right, okay.
Generally, they're very supportive of their parents. I think parents are sometimes concerned about what children will say. What I would say, my probably worst experience was having to give evidence that my parents divorced in front of 3 magistrates.
Wow.
And that was abusive as far as I was concerned.
Wow.
I
How
was
old were
13
you?
years old, and those days they had fault and blame, and my parents had to fight to prove who was right and who was wrong, and I was really stuck in the middle. Fortunately, that would not happen these
No,
days.
no,
So,
no. So there are things that have, so
yes.
yeah, there are things that have changed.
Yes, and there are safe environments now for children to be able to express their opinions,
Yeah.
do it in a confidential way, so they're choosing what they wish their parents to hear.
Okay.
It's one of the better parts of my work, I think,
Yes.
helping children express themselves and reassuring parents that their children will be all right if they're all right.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. And that's what I say. Also, your children will be all right if you're all right, and you will be all right if your children are all right. It will just, kind of. It's a lot of work, and divorce is a journey, and it can be a painful journey at that. And we'll look at the conflicts, like you mentioned. So, Joan, tell us what we're going to speak about today. I'm quite excited, actually.
Okay, well, when I first started my work, I really was from a business background and found it quite difficult to think, how do I manage people's emotions? And I guess when people come and see me, they wonder that for themselves. So, over a period of time and with my research, I've developed a way of helping people to express those feelings. The purpose of it really is to create a business-like environment. I think it's important to say that I don't only deal with divorcing couples. I deal with couples where a child has arrived after a very short relationship, or maybe no relationship at all. So many people, maybe the majority, are not married, have no intention to marry, or may have lived together for a while. So they all come from different places. But I guess the overriding feeling that they have when they meet me is fear. They're frightened, and fear brings a feeling of defensiveness. And also, I think that they have to tell me that the other person was wrong. And as a mediator, what I do know is there's no right and wrong of this situation. What we're dealing with is the here and now, and how important it is as a mediator to understand and help people to express how they feel, to get out those emotions, so that they can go on and do the business of either sorting out money or children, whatever they feel are important issues. So it's not a matter of proving you're right or wrong. It's a matter of saying, let's do business here. We need to do business, and we need to be able to do it in a business-like way. You wouldn't go to your bank manager and become really emotional, because you wouldn't get what you want from your bank manager.
You can shed all the tears you like.
So I have developed a process which acknowledges that there are emotions involved in not being with somebody that you cared for or that you have a child by. So would you like me to explain that process?
Yeah, and I think it's
other questions.
I think it's also important to talk about the part, I called it saying goodbye. And you had a much better way of putting it, Joan, didn't you?
Well, I don't know. I think this comes from my foster panel work. Because I worked with some very wonderful people when I was doing that. And obviously we know that children in foster homes don't stay there. They move on, sometimes for good reasons, sometimes for bad. But they would talk about the importance of a good goodbye. And for foster children, it may be a goodbye, but it's about proper endings. Most people who separate from another person don't have the opportunity, or the mental state maybe, to make a good goodbye or a new beginning. And for me, these are new beginnings.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah,
so you referred to them to, like, if you're talking in this context about divorce and separation, where it's a positive ending. And do you have a process to actually get that positive ending, and what's important about getting that positive ending?
The importance is creating an atmosphere in which people can talk and not think that it's important about truth, about allocating blame, or about getting their own back, or negative emotions. It's about new beginnings, positive new beginnings, because wherever people go, if they're not going to have a relationship, particularly anymore because they don't have children, they will need to learn from the relationship that they've left. If they are going to go on to continue parenting, as many people do, it's helpful to establish a new way of communicating and a way of saying that was the past and this is the future. And we acknowledge the pain and difficulty of the past, but we cooperated really well before. We loved each other, we worked together, we have those skills, we just need to find them again. So it's finding them again. So going back to creating a positive relationship that will help families and themselves move on.
So you're saying, so you have the ending bit, where it's ended. Is there a process where you encourage, like maybe a ritual where you encourage them, what you encourage them to do to actually attain that positive ending before going into their new chapter? Or, I mean, they overlap somewhere, but...
Well, for me, in mediation, it's right at the beginning of mediation, talking about why their relationship is over and what they understand from that and what they bring to it. Okay, so I've developed questions really based upon future focus therapy and narrative mediation. I didn't understand when I started to do this where all this came from, but when I did my master's, I analysed where it came from, and I was quite interested in the influences that had come in to create this theory, which in some ways protected me as a mediator, but actually was really useful because it was structured. People didn't come into the room to have a row. They came in to have a controlled conversation, and by talking about things they really know about, which is about their relationship, they become settled and able to talk about all things that they feel they need to. And you can decrease their anxiety really, and show that as a mediator, I don't have a side to take. I'm there to solve a problem with them. They're going to solve the problem, and I'm going to see what the tools they have to do it. And in doing that, we talk about familiar things, the
Yes.
things they both know about.
That's really interesting, Joan, and I'd like us to go into those questions that you ask and how you because when what you said right there, that in mediation, right at the beginning of mediation is where you start the process of saying goodbye, and actually mediation is that, you know, place to say goodbye, but a lot of people don't see it that way. They say it as it's a place to sort out the issues that are outstanding, financial and child contact issues, but not actually looking at it. We're doing this because we're saying goodbye to this part as we travel to the next. So when we come back to part 2 of the video of the interview, then maybe we can go, if you don't mind, we can go into the questions that you actually do explore with them.
It'll be fun.
Okay.